This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go, and you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words with no faith is empty. I stayed the course, so my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's ACMG. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. I hope everybody had a great and peaceful Thanksgiving with their friends and family. I'd like to send a shout out to everybody out there who had a chance to really be thankful for a lot of things that is going on this year. We had a rough year. We had a rough 2 years. And I feel that change is coming, but we'll see. We'll see about that. I hope that change in mental health, change in the way we treat each other in society, change in just everything. It's a long time coming. So I'm just thankful that I have been able to do this show, to be able to meet a lot of people from this show, from ACMG, a lot of, the celebrity guests that I had on the show. And my God, and just the opportunities that I've been able to have, it's just, I can't be more thankful for that. For the support that my wife has been given, the support of my family, everybody, I couldn't be more thankful for that. So, shout out to everybody out there who was able to make it theirs this year and work their butts off and, just be thankful for just being alive right now. That's just honestly, there's a lot of reasons to, and you just gotta learn how to live your life the right way, in your way for that matter. So, and be thankful that you have the opportunity to do that. So, before I get started, first of all, I cannot stand really, and I just told my wife this. My wife also, she's going through it too. She just healed up from her leg injury. She's now on the Peloton bike, trying to get herself back into shape, into running shape. So she's running on the Peloton bike. I'm running on the Peloton bike. But even more for me, for as far as in reference to the show, I hate taking breaks because it feels like I have to pick up where I left off and I got to get myself back into gear again, doing this and doing everything and writing the show and everything. And I almost didn't do a show this week. I was going to just completely not do a show this week, but I'm like, no, I got to get back into gear. There are things to talk about this week, and we are definitely going to talk about that. But, I was going to take a break, but I felt like the longer I'm out, the longer I'm just going to, delay it, and I'm going to feel delayed. So, no, we're back. We're back. There are a lot of things that are going to be happening soon. So, and I can't wait for 2020 for a lot of reasons, but in particular for Talk Time Live, for ACMG, I am looking forward to seeing what is coming next, because I know some things that are coming. I know quite a few things that are going to be coming as reference to the show. So I'm looking forward to it. And in reference to Keystone Comic-Con as well next year, too. So, there's some interesting things going on. I'll tell you that. Before we even start the show, I want to give a big thanks because I wasn't here at the time, but I was able to head over to the House of Hardcore where I was able to meet in person my previous guest, Mike Herman, who is RetroSoft Studios founder. And if you guys remember, I had him on the show to talk about Retromania Wrestling, the official sequel to WrestleFest, or WWF WrestleFest for those who remember. And not only did I get a chance to meet him in person, he's a great guy, really fun dude, but I also got a chance to get my hands on a early demo of the game. And let me tell you folks, and if you go into, I won't go into detail too much, but if you want more detail on my experience with the game so far, and just so far, my early thoughts on it, go to TalkTimeLive.com. It's up there. You'll see video footage of it that I've taken on there, and also I wrote up pretty much an article of my hands-on experience with it. I got to tell you, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're a wrestling gamer, you are gonna have a lot to look forward to with this game, and in its unfinished state. I enjoyed it. I got my tail whipped by a kid, but who was definitely hours and hours ahead of me as far as, learning how to play the game. But the game was very fun. The control was fluid so far, just on the single player portion of it. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to playing it. I will have Mike Herman back on the show once this is up and running in 2020. And we're going to talk about this. I have great feelings for this. I have a really, really great feelings for this game. And really, again, I'm proud that this game is made in Pennsylvania, like 45 minutes away from me. This is awesome. I mean, I can't, talk about that enough. That we've done so many things in Philadelphia and in the Delaware Valley region, and so many monumental things and iconic things have happened around him. And this just adds on to it. So this is awesome. Like we're now getting gaming in Pennsylvania. So that's awesome. So shout out to him. I will be talking to him soon. And I am expecting a t-shirt from him too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that coming soon. I'll definitely be posting that on the A.C.M.G Facebook group, and as well as the other formats that I have as well. It's really awesome. So I got that going on there. But what I wanted to talk about today, we got a lot of news to talk about, some really interesting news, some scary news as that. But our talk topic, basically, I'm just going to run down what I believe is some must-see TV this week. Preferably 3. I believe Harley Quinn just came out this week, and I got a chance to see that. We also had the season finale of Titans, as well as this week's Mandalorian episode. I want to definitely talk about that because one of my favorite athletes turned actor, or actress, if you will, made her debut on the show, and that's Gina Carano. So I want to talk about all that. So we'll move all that to the talk topic of the week. But I want to get to the news now. So without further ado, let's find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
And now it's time to find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
All right, so we're going to start off with some startling news. There are reports saying that Arrow and Doctor Who and Torchwood actor John Barrowman, everybody loves John Barrowman. I mean, the dude is awesome. He's just absolutely awesome, unapologetic, hilarious, and a phenomenal actor. He was rushed to the hospital after a severe neck injury. As a result, Barrowman had to cancel his upcoming performances of his show, A Fabulous Christmas. After an MRI scan, and his doctor diagnosed him with and forgive me because I have no idea what this is, but this is definitely spinal here, C5-6 facet joint injury, which results in an immediate spinal surgery. The actor has updated his status to fans on social media, in particular Twitter, more or less, that he will be okay, along with pictures of the aftermath and the MRI scan of where everything happened. We all wish him a speedy recovery. He hasn't revealed exactly what happened or how that injury has happened, but it's definitely, they said it was a severe injury, definitely looked like a severe injury, but he looks to be okay. It's going to probably take him some time to recover, but we definitely wish him a speedy recovery. He was unable, there were some inflammatory situations in that area, and which stopped him from being mobile and from being able to sing as well. So I'm glad that he was able to get there on time, and it could have been far worse from there. So I'm sure I speak for many fans that I hope we wish him the best, and hopefully we'll see him back on stage, on TV soon there. So, I mean, he's an absolutely phenomenal dude. So, hearts and thoughts and prayers to him on that recovery. Last night on Toonami's special, The Forge. Now, Toonami always had these specials where it involves their host, Tom, which is played by Steve Bloom. This time around, it's Steve Bloom. There were other actors who played it, but when Steve Bloom, who plays virtually everything from Wolverine on down to, like, my God, I can't even think about all the voices this man has played. But he took the role of Tom. He's been awesome as it. I mean, it's just blatantly obvious how really good this guy is. And now I think it's to the point now everybody who watched Toonami and watched that character now and know who it is and know that it's Steve Bloom doing it. That's all we see. Oh, by the way, he's Sub-Zero as well. That's one of the other characters as well, amongst many others. But this time around, and whenever these specials come around, they always have a situation where Tom is going to rather go through a crucial death, which leads him to a resurrection of a new body of some sorts. I don't think that's the case this time. As a result of last night's episode entitled The Forge, we saw the robotic and iconic host of Adult Swim's block of adult anime series actually bite the dust. And I mean, like, I've seen him die before, but also they somehow brought him back in a new form, in a really cool new form. I don't think this is the case this time. I don't know. But he went out. He bit the dust. They killed him off after Tom was trying to save his brethren, who was enslaved by a group of aliens, and he managed to get them to escape. He knew he was going out. And as a result, they shot him down. I mean, like, shot him down. If you watch it, and I posted it on our A.C.M.G. Facebook group, because people didn't believe me, because they were like, yeah, but he always comes back. And I'm like, yeah, I know he always comes back, but this time, this looks really, really to be it. And the way that they directed the scene and put it together, it really seemed like this was it. This was unexpected. Even Sarah, the AI, she was in total shock. She gasped when she listened to the audio of him trying to say, I had a great time and we had great fun. And boom, he went out like Ironhide did when Megatron shot him down on Transformers the movie. Which is funny because there's a part in that little bit. It's like about, I think, like 3 minutes of a clip that they showed. But within that 3 minutes, one of the I guess robot. The deal is that Tom is a updated version of what these other robots are. So he is indeed part of their race of robots, and that's why he decided to free them, because he didn't want to see his brother and his brothers and sisters actually being enslaved. Understandably so. And they proclaimed him Tom Prime, because they're all Toms. So, but he's Tom Prime due to the fact he stands out, or he did. And lo and behold, he, which is funny, they called him Tom Prime. Like, this feels like an homage to Transformers in some way. So, and the fact that how he died sort of kind of went out that way too. It really reminded me of how Ironhide was taken out by Megatron in the ship. Exactly. So all of these slaved Tom robots was able to escape and safely escape for now. Well, they were able to escape, but it looks like next episode next week we're going to see the aftermath of what happened there and how and they're chasing after this. So I like the way that they're really teasing this. Like, he looks like he's really dead. A lot of people think that he's not, that he's possibly not, but I'm sorry. I saw the video, from the video footage, I don't see how he's going to come back. I thought maybe they have some sort of save data, maybe, something. But the look on Sarah's face, the AI's face when he died, didn't look like they had a plan B. The way that he went out didn't look like they had a plan B. I wanted to point out that one of the Tom characters had a lot of speaking roles throughout the week. So I don't know. This could be a passing of the torch. This could be the actual end to Steve Bloom's run as Tom, and they may be giving it to a new actor here. I don't know what's going to happen, but it was deep. I really, really liked the way it was. Normally, I was looking forward to, like, okay, Tom normally gets through. He gets a new body, something like that. I don't think they're going that road right now. I think this is a passing of the torch. So we'll see. You can find out more next week at 11 p.m. on Toonami, which is Cartoon Network. So for those who don't know, but if you know Toonami and all the stuff, you do know. So there. I do want to point out, going to some gaming news here. We're switching on now. Going into some gaming news here. Neo Geo finally announced information on the Nintendo Switch's version of Samurai Showdown, a game that I said I would not buy. And mostly because, as much as I love I love all Neo Geo games, but if you're going to recreate this game, make it look every bit as much as Street Fighter 4, if you will, I'm sorry, you got it. And competing with all these other games, including Street Fighter 5, including Tekken 7, including Dragon Ball FighterZ, you name it, Mortal Kombat 11, which has this huge production. This really huge production of, story and narrative. Like, they really did a lot nowadays. The common and standard way to do a fighting game now is to have a huge story to grab people in the universe, because there are people like my brother-in-law who likes fighting only, who cares only about fighting only. I believe one of our A.C.M.G members, Elijah McKinnon, also is just a fighter only type of dude to some extent. But then you got people like myself who are engaged in the narrative and the storytelling factor of the game, as well as the gameplay. So you're creating characters, you got to immerse them in, and I felt like, after what I've played before and what I discovered, it's like, I don't want to invest in this. Not for the price that they're asking for. And they were asking for $59.99 for this game. And I'm like, why would I pay $59.99 for this game that only gives you an arcade mode and a few other little bells and whistles? If I never got any fighting game at all, and I had a choice between Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, what else? Mortal Kombat 11, Injustice 2, let's bring that in too. And then Samurai Showdown comes in. Who's going to give me more for my money? There's no way in hell I'm going to pick Samurai Showdown, regardless of how beautiful it looks, regardless of how great the gameplay is. I believe that I am a smart consumer. So I'm not going to jump out of everything that I'm going to buy. I like to use critical thinking when I buy things. And as much as I am a huge fighting game fan, I consider myself an upper echelon collector of fighting games. Whereas you got to give me the amount of quality. This is not like the 80s. This is not the 90s. If a game like that came out in the 90s, that would have been worth the money. But in today's market, we now got fighting games that give us so much more. And immerses so much more into the experience of these worlds that are being created. You can't just give us, and Neo Geo and to some extent Capcom have been really, really arrogant on how they make games. More Bandai Namco, if anything, too. Bandai Namco is also, like, I don't know if that's a budget issue with them, but a lot of their games do not, like, after Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and after what's the other game? A few games that were really great. Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Xenoverse, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is also a really good one. But then after that, everything else just lacked. Soul Calibur lacked. It really, like, I don't understand why they didn't give it the same treatment that they gave Tekken 7. Like, Tekken 7 got a full, storyline production, Hollywood production treatment there. I do not understand why they didn't do that for Soul Calibur. I was really upset at that. Really, it was that right there that led me to not wanting to get Samurai Showdown. But lo and behold, out of all of that, there may be a reason for me to buy and invest in the Switch version of Samurai Showdown. And that is because anybody who pre-orders this, which is going to be coming, this newly 3D remake, which is going to be coming early 2020. They don't say specifically whether January, February. I'm assuming it's January, February, because once you reach March, it's going to start to stretch to second quarter. But it's coming into the early 2020. The trailer has announced that those who pre-order the game will also receive a bonus incentive, which includes the classic Neo Geo Pocket version of Samurai Showdown 2, which I actually still own. I have the physical cartridge with the Neo Geo Pocket with me. I think that is absolutely awesome. I gotta tell you, I used to love that game system. It was so freaking awesome. You had these like super deformed pixel versions, like I guess you could call it 16-bit versions of the games, even though they lacked the color palette that you see in most 16-bit games. They did a really great job with that little handheld game. And it is kind of like the handheld version of the Dreamcast. It had a whole library of really great fighting games, and Samurai Showdown 2 was one of them. They did a great job with that, and its value at the time was, I think, about $30-40 for that game. And I think that combined with that, I think now I believe that is worth the money that they're giving. So if you haven't gotten Samurai Showdown like I have, and you own a Nintendo Switch, this may be the reason. I would say this is the reason why it's worth getting. Now, I'm hoping that Samurai Showdown will be good on the Nintendo Switch, but I think I have no reason to believe it's not. Neo Geo games have been on there before. What is it? The SNK Heroin Tag Frenzy is on there. Now, granted, even though that's not the best game in the world, it's still in 3D and it's still fluid. So there has been some slowdowns in bandwidth and Wi-Fi for online play. But hopefully that will be solved with this one. Either way, I'm a single player dude anyway, so I just want the single player to be great. And I know the single player was great on as far as fluidity and frame rate and everything was really good for that SNK Heroin game. So I'm expecting that to be at least good on there. But the addition of the Neo Geo Pocket, I'm really looking forward to that. So I look to be getting that when it comes out soon. So stay tuned for that one as well. More interesting news about Adult Swim. Adult Swim and Crunchyroll is looking to produce a new Blade Runner anime series. According to The Verge, Verge.com, or The Verge, the creator of Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, also known as Alcon Entertainment, is partnering with Adult Swim and Crunchyroll to produce a 13-episode series called Blade Runner Black Lotus. No additional information has been released regarding the plot yet. A press release says that it will include existing characters of the saga. It is said also that the timeline will be set in 2032, which is, according to them, is 17 years before the events of Blade Runner 2049. Being that Adult Swim will be involved, rest assured that there will be an English dub cast involved. So, all of you who enjoyed the latest movie, which I still have not seen yet, and actually, I haven't seen the original either, or anything in between that. And if you guys who enjoyed that movie, definitely is looking forward to that. I believe so. A lot of the people in our A.C.M.G Facebook group were really excited about this. So there's that. More anime for a buck. Speaking of more anime for a buck, Netflix released a new anime that strikes a very, very similar resemblance to another anime series that I loved and reviewed on this show. Levius just came out just recently on Netflix. It's another quote-unquote Netflix original anime series, and I put quotes for a reason. Levius is a sci-fi action-packed sports drama about a kid growing up and trained to be the best mecha boxer in the world. This story also tells the story of Levius and how he got the mechanical arm, and it leads to him fighting in the mecha boxer circuit. The fighters in this promotion use cybernetic arms to fight their opponents with which to give them more climatic fighting experience and more power. Levius only uses one arm with another augmentation sort of cast for his other actual arm. So now I watched the first episode. I will admit I did like what I see in the first episode. I will be watching all of the other episodes, about 12 episodes in this series so far. And if this sounds familiar to anybody that is an otaku and watches anime consistently, and especially have watched Crunchyroll animes or watched Toonami, this is very similar and reminiscent to the modern day classic Megalobox, which also stars in a character who uses mecha arms for boxing. I don't know what happened with that and how they got into that situation. I mean, it's the second. You know what's even funnier? It's the second anime on Netflix that mimics another anime. There's the I forgot. I really hate to say that name because I always forget the name. But it's the anime that everybody is reminiscent of Baki, the grappler. They have that game, Sinran. I forgot the name of that one, but it's on Netflix. It's a underground mixed martial arts, battle, and it's weird. I got to learn more about this, but I will actually, after watching the first episode, I will recommend watching it. It is pretty good. I do like how Netflix has this distinct style of using anime and 3D animation. And it's pretty much like cell shade 3D animation, which is the best of both worlds, I guess. You're using the hand-drawn anime look that everybody loves in anime, but there's also this, it's obviously 3D frames and 3D modeling within it and cell shaded. So the only thing that really, really gets me is some of them, like the frames. It doesn't feel fluid all the time, but for the record, this one looks really good. I would recommend people checking it out. I did like the first episode. I will most likely watch the entire series. I might even have that as I might even talk about that next week in full as to what I thought of it. In fact, I will. Whether it be a talk topic or not, that's a whole other thing, but I will bring it up and definitely talk about that too. So go out of your way and check it out. I mean, Netflix has a ton of great anime. If you don't own Crunchyroll or if you don't own Funimation now, and I do recommend owning both if you like Crunchyroll and just all subs. But I prefer Funimation, which has both sub and dub anime in there, and a lot of the library that they have in there, and some of it they don't. But I do recommend both. I absolutely recommend both. But if you don't have it in the budget to do it, but you have Netflix or even Hulu to that extent, they have a great library of anime in there, and original anime, especially Netflix. Netflix has been busting their ass to put in some original anime series in there, and I really appreciate it. So, I mean, that's just another one in there, and I think this one I'm going to like in particular. I like sports anime, especially really over-the-top sports anime, like I did with the mixed martial arts anime Baki, the Grappler, which I'm still glad that they have it on there, and I hope that we get another season of that series because it needs to have a follow-up to a lot of things that went on there as well. So I'm very much looking forward. Plus, they just added Saint Seiya, the original series, and their own original version, and some of the other OVA version. Like, there's a ton of Saint Seiya anime on Netflix if they're fans out there of it. So you got a lot out there. It's really awesome. So go out of your way to check it out, folks. That will do it for what's new in the world of ACMG. We're going to take a break, come back, and on our talk topic, I'm going to talk about the 3 most enjoyable must-see shows this week that I had a chance to check out. We'll talk about that right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dak Xavier Josiah, the host of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
Hey, this is Jeff Thorne. I am the writer, producer, showrunner of the Avengers Black Panther's Quest TV series, and you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
Do it.
And now it's time for our talk topic of the week. Ready? Fight!
All right, folks, we are back with our talk topic of the week, and it is pretty much me talking about the must-see TV shows this week, comic book related, of course. Comic book and movie related, if you want to put it that way. Actually, no comic book, because Star Wars does have a comic book out, so that clears it. So I wanted to talk about, mostly a lot of it is from the DC Universe app, actually. And we had the finale of Titans this week, and I've been following that show. Season 1 was slow paced, but it kept me wanting to watch more because I felt like something more was coming. And I felt like in Season 2 it actually did. Season 2 turned out to be a really, really strong season. I like to relate it to Arrow Season 2, where Deathstroke came in. Slade Wilson made his appearance. Well, they did the same thing. Greg Berlanti and Berlanti Productions did the same thing here when they wrote and produced this show, and they added this version of Slade Wilson on here, which I thought that the actor did equally as... would I say equal? I think he did just as good. I think he did just as good as the Arrow's version of Slade Wilson. I thought he did a good job. He played the part. He looked the part. He felt the part. And I think, once again, that character's presence really stepped up the game for the show in general, in terms of intensity, in terms of drama, in terms of action. I thought they really did a great job. We got to see more of the Titans together, more of what's going on with Hawk and Dove, more of what's going on with Dick Grayson as he finally gets rid of the Robin attire. And the whole story, the main story of this season was basically him leading up to becoming Nightwing. And I thought that they did that very well. It was well paced. They managed to break away from that so we could focus on other things and then come back to it with really no problems and no disconnects of what's been going on. We still know what's been following up with him. We got to see Bruce Wayne this season. I wasn't feeling this guy at first. It's the actor from Game of Thrones. I wasn't feeling him first because I'm used to the dark, Christian Bale, Kevin Conroy style, even, to some extent, the Michael Keaton style of Bruce Wayne. But I felt after a while, I warmed up to this guy. And when he started really becoming signs of Batman, that's when I really was like, okay, he's playing a part. And many people, especially those in the ACMG group, felt that he was paying homage to the Adam West version, but with a little bit more serious tint to it. And I can see that. Part of me thinks that he looks like Bruce Wayne if he was done by Philip Drummond. But nonetheless, I really started warming up to the character, and I felt like, okay, this is just a different version of Bruce Wayne. This is their version of Bruce Wayne. There has been other versions of Bruce Wayne before. The Dark Knight version that we saw from Tim Burton and Michael Keaton and Kevin Conroy and such. So I've accepted him, and he really started playing the part. And there was also great action scenes with him on there, with him fighting Dick Grayson, or it was the imaginary version of him, I guess, as well. But overall, I thought he did a great job by the end of this series, and he really felt the part. They made him believable. So I dug it. Everybody, Firestar in her role, playing in as the princess, and now first of all, the hair is just on point. She looked really good in this season. I know that they said that they were going to eventually get to this hairstyle that everybody loves so much, and they even made mention of it throughout one part of the series of when Dick complimented her in the hair, and it was just a nod. That was definitely a nod, but I felt that they did a really good job on her story, and now it looks like, and spoiler alert for everybody who's going to be listening to this right now, if you're looking forward to watching this and you didn't hear anything, just fast forward through. But her sister's coming. We've seen, if you watch Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go, whatever like that, the story of her sister, or even read the comics, the story of her sister. Her sister is just deadly and evil and jealous of Starfire, and it's going to be interesting to see her come through. And at the end, it was like, woo, she's going to come big time. So there will be a third season as well. We also saw Ravager in here now, who apparently is now part of the Teen Titans, and which leads to where's Jason Todd. Jason Todd decided to split ways with the gang. I honestly thought that he wasn't going to last on this show. I really thought that he wasn't going to last on the show, and in fact, he did, to my surprise, because they were promoting and advertising that one of the Titans was going to die. And you got Hawk and Dove, and I also liked the way that they led us to believe that it could have been anybody in here. It was. We saw Hawk. He's going through a breakdown with his relationship with Dove. And he's now taking in drugs. He's like at his lowest point, but he winds up, getting himself together after a while. I still thought that he was going to be the one that bite the dust. You had Jason Todd, who, if anybody has followed Jason Todd in the comics, where that's going to lead to, or should lead to at some point. And that didn't happen. They didn't pull the trigger there. So it just left us with Beast Boy or Ravager, which at the time Ravager's not really a part of the team, but they were fighting Deathstroke. So I'm like, is Deathstroke going to kill anybody? No. In fact, they killed Deathstroke. To be honest, Ravager killed her, and lo and behold, Dick Grayson discovered that the whole part of the reason why the team split in the first place was because of Jericho, who is Slade Wilson's son, Ravager's sister, and lo and behold, he was still alive. He has the meta ability to send his essence or soul into somebody else and inhabit their body. So he doesn't really need his natural body, despite the fact that he was actually killed by Slade, or his body was killed by Slade, and he then went inside. He went inside Slade. Dick figured it out that Jericho's still alive within him. So, why? And there was one great episode involving Dick, and it was his origin story to becoming Nightwing, and how he became Nightwing, and what the symbol of the bird means. And I thought it was really cool how they put that together when him being in jail, and also assimilating a message of what is it? Prison reform. So they really did some outspoken things in there that I really appreciated, and then was able to get their own message out in their certain way. So that was that, and lo and behold, by the end, Slade dies. It's all over. They still have some things to worry about, including Katniss and Grace, who is Lex Luthor's assistant, who was absolutely cutthroat in this. Like, we need to get to see Lex, and apparently Lex Luthor is coming. He is coming. He's been mentioned at the end. He's obviously with the appearance of Gracie. This woman was no joke. She was absolutely no joke in here. Like Amanda Waller level cutthroat. So that's whole thing. The Katniss thing is a whole thing. Superboy making his appearance. He's now part of the Titans as well. So we got him in there. By the way, he looks spot on, like Connor. He looks spot on. We also got Crypto as well. Beast Boy was being taken over by Cadmus, and he's been brainwashed, so he's been murdering people all over the place against his will. And it just worked out thanks to Raven. You know, Raven got a chance to free him, so this thing just went everywhere. And by the end of all of that, after they kill Slade and after they save Beast Boy and Connor, out of freaking nowhere, Dove is trying to save these people because this tower is falling and is going to fall on them. She's destined to die. All of a sudden, Donna Troy, who is Wonder Girl, zips over to her, saves her by holding up the tower that is still electrified, electrocuting Donna Troy. Donna Troy actually is the one who dies. I swear to goodness, this is the part where everything was going so good with this show, and it still is. But then this part came, and I'm like, this is just so out of nowhere of her dying. I don't get this whole scene. I don't get this whole scene at all. I don't understand why this scene came. Is this going to result in her coming back to life in some form? Now, Raven, at the end, decided to go with the Amazons back to Veniscara because she believes that she can actually bring her back to life because she's healed other Titans before. So I don't know if this is what this is going to lead into, but maybe she'll be back next season, maybe not. But I thought honestly, I feel like if she doesn't come back in some form or fashion with Raven helping her, I feel like that this whole situation, that one little scene, was just the oddest thing ever, and it just meant really nothing in a sense. Like, this has to lead to something. I truly believe this has to lead to something. But overall, I felt that I really enjoyed this season of Titans much better than this first season, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I hope that I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the third. I have stuck with them for quite a while, and I was skeptical about DC Universe, but they're bringing in some hardcore content to the show. I mean, I like Doom Patrol. That was really good. Titans Season 2 was really good. Swamp Thing was amazing, and I still hate the fact that that's on the chopping block right now. So hopefully we'll get a third season of Titans, whether they ended it or not, as this third season or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. They always like to chop things off at the end. At the head, at least. And we'll see. We'll see. The other, as this says goodbye for a season, we do get the season premiere, or series premiere, of the Harley Quinn show. And I absolutely, when I saw the trailer on social media, I was like, this show right here is going to be very interesting because they're going out of pocket. They're going in a way of making it more of a comedy. Now, if you guys remember, there was a Batman and Harley Quinn movie that came out with Kevin Conroy, and I believe the actress who plays Bernadette on Big Bang Theory, she played Harley Quinn in there, and that movie was absolutely, undeniably funny as hell. It was like to hear Kevin Conroy do some of the funniest things that I've never seen him do. It was fantastic. So in here, we get a chance to see a new Harley Quinn, not played by Tara Strong, not played by the female from Big Bang Theory, but another Big Bang Theory actress, and none other than Penny herself. I forgot her name, but let me look this up. Harley Quinn TV show. No, not Harley Davidson. There we go. Look at the cast here. Yes, Kaley Couco. I hate pronouncing her name like that. But I mean, the whole cast, this is an all-star cast. An insane all-star cast of actors and comedians that are in this show. I mean, it's just amazing. Kaley Couco is Harley Quinn. Alan Turk, who plays phenomenal on everything, is the Joker on here. You got Lake Bell, who I love on Bless This Mess. I mean, that with Dax Shepard, and it's not because there's a guy named Dax in there, but that show is really funny. I really like that show, but she's also funny in here. She's playing Poison Ivy in here. Dedrick Bader from American Housewife, who I also enjoy, is Batman. He always plays Batman in a lot. He plays Batman in a lot of DC's content. Tony Hale is Dr. Psycho. You got Jason Alexander, who has not been announced to know where he's going to be portraying. Wanda Sykes is also in here as well. JB Smoove plays Frank the Plant, which is Poison Ivy's, I guess, best friend or plant or whatever like that, but he's hilarious on here. Ron Funches is said to be on here soon. Jim Rash. It's just crazy. Giancarlo Esposito as Lex Luthor. That's my man from School Days and Breaking Bad. Like, dude. So you got all these extremely awesome cast of people in here. I mean, it's just so many. I'm just naming a few. Tisha Campbell's going to be in this show. Sanaa Lathan is going to be on this show. Will Sasso is on this show. Like this, they really brought the guns to this animated series. This is an adults. This is not for kids. I'm going to say this right now. I want to point this out right now. This is a rated. Phil Lamar is going to be here too, of course. This series is absolutely, undeniably not for kids. This is a straight up rated R TV show, and it's the dialogue and narrative is very colorful. They do F-bomb a lot. It's very violent. It's like you don't want your kids watching this one. Not at all. They take the kid gloves off. It's no joke. So the situation with this is that Harley Quinn is, of course, as we all know, is extremely, to say smitten is an understatement. She's extremely obsessively in love with the Joker. So much to the point that she never knows that he abuses her and doesn't give a rat's ass about her. And it really takes Poison Ivy to go through all sorts of ends, even plot and plan a whole entire scenario of a situation that leads to her really fully understanding that Joker doesn't like her and doesn't really care about her at all. For her to understand that she needs to go on her own, she needs to be her own person, and she's going to do her own thing now. And along with Harley and a few other people, they're all going to be, creating their own crime and being the top of villains in this series. And it's really cool. The funny part about it is like you can hear the voices of the people that that are in here, especially Harley Quinn herself. When you hear Kaley on here, you can hear the voice of Penny from Big Bang Theory on this show, and then she goes and does the accent, the Harley Quinn accent that we all know, which I don't know if that's a New York or Boston accent that she's doing, but it's very familiar, style of dialogue that she does, and it's just really funny. I like the fact that now ironically, the two women who play actresses who on the show was not into comic books at all are playing a iconic comic book character in the DC universe. So it's really fantastic. I really love this show. The first episode is out now. You could go check it out. Trust me, I don't think there's a person out there that will watch the show and say this sucks. This may be one of the best shows on the DC app, bar none. Go out of your way, check it out. It's going to be hilarious. You're going to have a good time, and I'm looking forward to seeing the entire season of this. So go out of your way to check that out as well. My final show, and we talked about this before. Who hasn't talked about this before? I haven't heard one person not talk about this as much as they talk about one of the most iconic characters of this year since BB-8, and that's Baby Yoda. That is The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian this week, I believe this is episode 4. This is chapter 4, and this is also the actorial debut of Gina Carano into the Star Wars universe. Anybody who gets put into the Star Wars universe, it's like, this is a badge of honor. This is huge. I like the fact that Martin Scorsese and Jennifer Aniston and the guy Ford or whatever, Francis Ford Coppola, talks about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, never talks about any other universes, never talks about any of the other, TV shows or movie series that we've have out. Like, they just totally point at the Marvel, like they're bullying, centering around the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Meanwhile, there's DC, there is CW with the DC Universe, there is Star Wars that's been out for ages, and I'm like, okay, you don't point out Star Wars, but you point out Marvel? No, there's an instant line of hate there that's obvious. If it's one thing to point out all sci-fi or all comic book movies at one point, but no, they singled out the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a reason. But I digress. The Mandalorian, had Gina Carano in, and if those who don't know who Gina Carano is, and I can understand if people don't, Gina Carano is a legend in MMA. Gina Carano is absolutely one of the best female MMA fighters of all time. She actually, to be honest, I'm going to use the hip hop analogy again for this, and I always do this, but this is so true to this as well. Where we know Ronda Rousey for really, bringing women into pop culture and mainstream for MMA and sports. It was Gina Carano was the first person that really spotlighted people, but unfortunately, the promotion that she was in, which was like Strike Force or Elite FC at the time, didn't have the promotional power to push her over. She got over on her own because, one, she's drop dead gorgeous. She can fight. She never lost at the time. She only lost one fight, and that was to Cyborg Santos, which at that point she retired because I don't know if she just felt that she wasn't going to be able to, that was too much of a higher level. To that credit, Cyborg Santos, from a fighting standpoint, is a monster in some cases. She just recently lost a fight, or I think a fight or two at this point, but it took forever to do it. Then Ronda, so she retired. Then they needed somebody to really spotlight. And then here comes Ronda Rousey, who was just beating people in 1 minute span and became the hottest thing ever. And so much to the point that she even convinced Dana White of the UFC to start a women's division. And Dana White was at the time, who he always says he's not going to do something to do it, said that he was never going to have women fight in the UFC ever. And then Ronda Rousey came about and he was like, oh, we could do something with her. We're going to start a women's division. So, but it was Gina Carano, from a historical standpoint, was the original. So, and from a hip hop analogy, Gina Carano is to the Sugar Hill Gang as Ronda Rousey is to Run DMC. And if you know your hip hop history, Sugar Hill Gang was the one. People will point back to Dolomite, yes, but the Sugar Hill Gang was really the one that put it on records first, and then shortly after, it was Run DMC that really brought it into the mainstream, and it just, everything skyrocketed from there. It's kind of a thing. So she was originally the first, but she left MMA and went into acting. She had her own movie at one point. She also been in a few other movies as well, noticeably Deadpool, and she's been doing really well. Well, this, in fact, I believe is the biggest role she has taken on to date. So she plays also a bounty hunter in the show, if I'm correct, and she meets up with the Mandalorian, and they sort of have a like Thor, Lady Sif type of friendship where they fight together and everything. And she really to me, she put out a performance to me that was equivalent to that of Batista on Guardians of the Galaxy. So I really enjoyed what she did. I absolutely enjoyed what she did here. She will be back for, I believe, 2 more episodes. So I don't know what's going to happen with her after that. But the fact that she is in here and she's stationed in here is really well. I like this episode in general because they somehow, and I like every episode so far. Everybody knows that this is a space western, whereas like the original Star Wars kind of played off of like a sort of like a Shaolin monk, intergalactic Shaolin monk style movie. This plays like more of a space western, if you will. And every episode has the Mandalorian along with what we call Baby Yoda, which we know that it's not named Baby Yoda, but we're adopting that name anyway because it just sounds way cuter. He actually goes on his journey. He took the kid. He's trying to keep the kid safe. He thought that he finally found a place that he could keep those kids safe. And in fact, that wasn't the case because there is a squadron of I don't know who these guys are, if they're the dark side or not the dark side, but the I forgot what rebellion, not rebellion, but what squad these guys are. But everybody's hunting for this kid. Everybody's hunting for this kid because of his abilities, and this could be the second coming of a Jedi and Yoda or whatnot. And he finally thought that he was going to be able to, one, find peace for himself or possibly find peace for the kid. And he wasn't going to take on this sort of mercenary hire at first, but he took it upon his own heart to check out the place and see what these guys are doing. There's a small village of people trying to grow crops, and these invaders were coming in. And lo and behold, they were able to fight off the group of people. And after a while, they thought that the Mandalorian thought that he was going to be able to keep the Baby Yoda there because he loved it there. They loved him there. They would be able to protect him until they discovered that somebody was trying to assassinate the Baby Yoda. And thanks to Gina Carano's character, that didn't happen, but it led to the Mandalorian figuring out, I can't keep him here. He's safer with me. So unfortunately, they had to go, and the kids in that village really was heartbroken because they wanted him to stay. Who doesn't want Baby Yoda to stay with them? I mean, if that kid does not grow, that is one of the most lovable creatures I would ever want to be around, aside from my dog and my cat. It's just freaking adorable. How do you not smile every time you see it? It really, just looking at that kid really brings the fatherly or motherly, side of anybody. Even if you just want to make sure that kid's safe. But lo and behold, he heads off, and they end up traveling off again. And I don't know what's gonna happen. It seems like every week they go through a different adventure. With the main premise and main plot point is that he's trying to save this kid and trying to learn more about this kid, but he's also trying to figure out himself and trying to find peace within himself. And they kind of revealed a lot about him in this episode too, which talks about how he grew up and his parents dying, and it was the guild that took him in and made him what he was. So he honors them immensely for that. And so we're starting to learn more about, his life as well. This was going on. It looks like we're going to venture out. Jon Favreau, who created this show, this guy can do no wrong. This guy absolutely can do no wrong. He is brilliant. I put him in the line of brilliancy. I enjoy everything he's done. The Jungle Book, loved it. Of course, Iron Man, which he's the reason. When you go down to it, he's the reason why we had 11 years of Marvel greatness. Absolutely. It started with him. If it didn't happen, if it wasn't successful, none of this would happen. He wouldn't get these opportunities that he would get. We would never see Chef. No joke. That's absolutely true. You would never see Chef because he would probably not have even known Scarlett Johansson to be able to do all this, and that none of that would have happened. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this episode, as I do all the episodes. Disney Plus, once again, is killing it. I'm enjoying every bit of content in Disney Plus right now, not only just The Mandalorian, but also all of the old stuff. I'm watching Gargoyles. By the way, and I talked about this on the A.C.M.G. Facebook group, and I'm standing by this hard as a statue on the top of a tower. The Gargoyles theme music is without a doubt the most epic opening theme and opening scene in American animation history. Every time I listen to that song, I literally want to go on a war. It's just, if you need a fight song, an intense fight song, and you got a group of people and they're all about to get at it, you can't get any harder than that. I mean, there's some hip-hop songs out there that I can recommend too, but man, that is rage personified in there. So I really loved it. But, 3 great shows this week. I highly recommend going out of your way to check it out. If you don't have the DC app, I think this would be a great DC app, Disney Plus. If you're a comic book fan, great, absolutely phenomenal Christmas gift to give to somebody, like a yearly subscription of either, or especially Disney Plus, because Disney Plus, I think it's like $60 for a yearly subscription. of that. So you could definitely go out of your way to get that. It's awesome. Definitely is worth it. DC Universe app too. What I'm going to do next week as well, which leads into next week's episode, because in 1 week, Crisis on Infinite Earth finally premieres on the CW. And I have been reading the original saga thanks to the DC Universe app, because their comic books are all up there, so I can finally read this and see what's going on. I can tell you what, real quick, I will tell you before we end the show, I really do like the fact of seeing how everything I watched for years on the CW and the Arrowverse, I'm seeing going on here in its original way. But I'm going to talk about that next week, so stay tuned for that. Folks, that will do it for this edition of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. Thank you for checking us out. Hopefully we'll stay on. I know this is the holiday season, so lo and behold, there will be some more breaks coming soon. You know, you got New Year's, you got Christmas coming, so without a doubt there will be some breaks coming from me here, but I will keep it strong and, you know, keep it going for as much as possible. But I hate these breaks. I really hate these breaks. It feels off and odd, and I got to get myself back into gear again. But we will keep it going, definitely. We got a lot going on here tonight. If anybody is not doing anything, you have DVR and all this stuff, because I got to DVR the go home shows tonight, because I am going to check out Mega Ran at the Kung Fu Necktie down here in Front Street in Philadelphia. He's coming back into town, so I'm going to get a chance to see him and see him perform again, and it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. Hopefully, everything will be going okay from that point. So I'm going to check that out, and then next week we're going to talk. We're like the whole 2 weeks is going to be about Crisis on Infinite Earths. So stay tuned for that and much more. This week on Select Start, stay tuned for that, because I am going to run down the nominees for the Game Awards, which is now December. We will be talking about all of that and what's going on, and give some of my predictions on what I think is going to win for what categories that I'm interested in as well. So stay tuned for that as much more. Please keep checking us out on TalkTimeLive.com. Check out our interviews on TalkTime Live on the exclusive page of TalkTimeLive.com, or you could type in TalkTimeLive.com/exclusive. You could check out our ACMG Facebook group on Facebook at Facebook.com/groups/ACMG1. Join us there. We have a great time. You have to have a legit profile in order to be approved, bar none. You are not getting in by just getting in on Thursday, because I guaranteed you have another account. You have a real account. We don't want people to hide. We want people to know that you're in a safe place. You're at a place that you can get to know yourself. And I realize that this only happens. This legit only happens on geek pages like this, or you know, fan pages like mine, where this happens. This happens all the time. I'm on other pages. I'm on a new Peloton group, which is like thousands of people in there, all of them not afraid to show themselves. I don't know what it is about the geek culture that people choose to want to hide behind the back of a picture or whatever. Like, just show yourself. The whole point of social media is to be friends, people. You're trying to learn to be new friends. If you have no ill will or no ill intentions, there's no reason why you can't show yourself, or, you know, show who you really are. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. So just enjoy yourself. Enjoy what you love, and enjoy it with other people that enjoys the same thing that you want as well. So folks, definitely check it out. Please continue to support us by following me on Instagram, first of all, at DaxXavier_Josiah. You can check me out there. Also, you can follow us and subscribe to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Podbean, and I believe there's probably more out there, but those are the ones that I've officially got on to as well. So definitely stay on for that and much more. So folks, that will do it. And by the way, on Select Start, I may have another review of a game that I've been trying to play. I think Katana Zero may be the one I'm going to check out. I finally got a chance to get that thanks to the Black Friday sales and everything, stuff like that. So that will do it, folks. On behalf of myself, this is Dax Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. Take care and have a great week. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.